Hello everyone, this is Ronnie. On this channel I talk mostly about the raw food diet and other health issues. Feel free to subscribe, leave a question or comment below if you like. So in this video I want to talk about a lesson that I learned a long time ago that I don't know, maybe it'll be helpful for someone out there. And it's to do with emotions, and I'm really interested in emotions and how they work. And a big part of the human condition of being human is we have all these emotions that we have to deal with, and some of those emotions are difficult. And something I only learned recently is that emotions can actually be painful. So we actually register them as physical pain. I know they can be painful in an emotional sense, but physically painful. And um, and that's why sometimes we try and avoid our emotions, or we deal with them, in not such a great way. And there's all sorts of ideas about people suppressing emotions and having unprocessed emotions. And sometimes with the raw food diet, we say that when people go raw, they have an emotional detox as well as a physical detox, and emotions come out. And the theory behind that is the idea that when a person is eating a standard diet or heavier diet, that basically the body, the two things that make the body use the most energy or are most energy consuming for the body, this is the theory, are digestion and processing emotions. And therefore, when you've got a lot of emotions, if you have a very heavy diet, your body's going to prioritize dealing with the food and the digestion, because it has to, over dealing with the emotions, and the emotions kind of get sidelined. At the same time, we've got so many distractions now from having to deal with our emotions, and so many substance abuse comes really from unresolved emotional stuff, I think, and traumas and things. And it only gets worse really when people add substance abuse to it. But people drink alcohol and take drugs and do all sorts of extreme behaviors in reaction to their emotions, and a lot of those behaviors don't lead to good things. And a lot of people get impulsive behaviors when it comes to emotions coming up, and they struggle with it. So I wanted to, and I'm no master on any of this stuff, but one thing I do feel like emotions are a good thing. Obviously, they're there to teach you something, say something to you, like definitely for you to learn from, and they're a signal, obviously, another signal uh, telling you whether you're going in the right direction or not, or whatever. There's so many things that emotions can be telling us. So when I was, when you're younger, you probably feel more emotion, or your emotions are more extreme when you're younger, especially when it comes to like friendships, romances, relationships, growing up, being around other people. You're trying to still find yourself and all that. And so when I was um, probably 19, had my first sort of girlfriend, and that didn't last, or only lasted a short while. And we sort of stayed friends after that, and I was never quite happy that we'd split up. I didn't think it was the right thing at that time, but it happened, and I wasn't happy about that. Um, but we became friends again a while later. We stayed in touch, and we were quite close. And I was always sort of waiting for that moment that we might get back together again, and that never happened. But I sort of thought I was okay with that, and then I eventually found out that she, I guess she'd met someone else. I mean, I didn't really know exactly what happened, um, but I think she'd started seeing someone else, and then she's kind of stopped communicating with me, and that was kind of the last time I spoke to her for a long, long time. And I was really hurt by that at that time, and I was kind of surprised at how much I was hurt by it. I didn't really realize, you know. And for a long time, had a lot of regrets around the whole situation. But I remember I was working in a supermarket at the time, I think, and I think I was on my lunch break, and I was feeling some pain around this, and I'd never felt that, like, it was that pain in your heart kind of feeling, you know, from a bit of a heartbreak feeling. And I remember feeling that, and somehow I had this insight to focus on it, to focus on that pain, to focus on that emotion. Because the instinct was always, as soon as it came up, was to try and avoid it. As soon as that emotion came up, was to try and avoid. And I think that's part of the reason I'm into music, is that that's what I would gravitate towards, playing music, playing guitar whenever I felt like that. But I just had this insight in the moment to sit and focus on it. And as I sat and focused on it, I realized it wasn't that painful after all, and it just kind of started to dissipate really quickly, just by focusing on it and giving my attention to it. And I'm not saying it didn't come up many times again, but it was a real fascinating thing to learn, I suppose. And I remember I had another friend at the time. He was a gay man, and he'd had a situation, I think. And I was telling him about this, and he said, "I can't do that." And I said, "No, you should try it. Like, just focus on it. When that feeling comes up, focus on it." And but he thought he couldn't do it. But I'm telling you, like, I think that this is a mistake everyone makes, is that they try and ignore, avoid, you know, push back the emotions that come up. And if you just sit and do nothing and just sit and focus on it, where you're feeling it, literally not focus on the idea of what happened, but focus on the feeling and focus on the pain and focus on where you're feeling that. For some reason, it helps for that emotion to process. I'm not sure exactly why. And it just made me think that, I mean, part of that situation was to kind of teach me, don't take things for granted, you know, don't take a person for granted. You're not going to meet so many people like that. So remember this. And I've never forgotten that. And I've never, as far as I'm aware, never taken any kind of relationship or situation like that for granted ever again, you know, I think. Maybe I have a little bit, I don't know. But I've definitely tried not to. Um, and But I also learned from that situation that whenever I had these feelings or rejections or things not working out, and these uncomfortable emotions come up, just sit and feel it, and a lot of the time it goes away. And I think that as you do that over the course of your life, you're developing a kind of a muscle in a way to deal with these things. And yeah, that's so it's been an important thing for me. So I think it's the right thing to do. And I do think that in the modern world, I think that's naturally what you would have had to have done, you know, in the past. You couldn't avoid your emotions. Now people are avoiding their emotions, substances, junk food, computer games, whatever it is, all these distractions. So if you're going through something, try not to avoid it and push it back. Try and sit and focus on it and feel it, and you'll be surprised at how you'll realize that it's not as powerful as it feels. It's not as all encompassing, all invasive in your life as it might feel in the moment. So I mean, I know that that video is not really about the raw food diet, but I think it's a health related good living related, I don't know, thing. And I think it is really important as part of your health journey to learn to cope and feel and deal with the emotions, because for so many people they fall off path back to substances, back to unideal relationships, maybe back to distractions and stuff, workaholic behavior, even stuff, all sorts of things, because they just can't deal with the emotions because they're too scared to sit and focus on them. And if you can control yourself to just sit and feel it, it's honestly not going to be as painful and as difficult. So, man, there's a lot of uncomfortable emotions to deal with in life. I don't know if you've ever had an embarrassing situation from the past comes up and you just go, oh man, and it's still you still feel it. It's still hard, you know. So I'd like to get your feedback on that. What do you think? If you had similar experiences, and what can I say? Thank you for watching.